sit down and read your notes. Like, the key here is to do these things early in the semester. That's the key. That's the key. As you can see, I'm sick. Oh. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Louis.
It's so nice, the bottle with his pictures. It's actually gorgeous. And the red one.
You love the red one?
Morning guys, so today is Saturday and this is currently our second day of working on the order that you saw me doing at work. And what's the time? Let me just check. The time is currently 8 minutes past 6 in the morning. I just decided to come here very early today so that I can have like a good head start, because we have 300 t-shirts to print and 300 bottles as well. So we have a lot of things that we need to print today and get them done, because tomorrow we don't work on Sundays. So because of that, I want to get them done today, and also I have to get them done early in the day because I have to study. So I just said let me come in early and actually just get that done. So yeah, switched on the heat press, everything's ready for me to start. Y'all, don't laugh at my bangs. I thought I was smart. The side was longer, it was getting into my eyes, that's how long it was. So I thought let me just cut it a bit, and then now the side is shorter than this side. So I'm going through a lot right now. This is just, it's not but ignore it. Oh my god, that's so bad actually. But yeah, let's get started, I guess. Today's Wednesday. As you can see, I'm sick. I'm so sick. But anyways, decided to go to work early again today because this thing: start early, finish early, start early, finish early. Because I'm writing tomorrow, I want to finish as early as possible so I can go home and study, right? So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sick. I'm so sick, guys. Oh my word. Yeah, this is basically my playground, right? This is where I do everything. So obviously to bring in the artworks or the things that you actually want to print. So you can see, let me show you this. This is basically a mock-up of what the final product should look like, right? So you have your front design and the back design. So I have to just lay it out here for the machine to print and then save it as a PNG and then send it to the back. So let's go to the back. I've already sent it. Let's see, start printing now. Oh my word, this flu is killing me. Okay, as you can see, I had already opened it in Photoshop. This is everything that we want to start printing right now. So I'm gonna start with this first. First thing, go to image mode, CYMK. Once that is done, you'll see here the color. And then this is our first print for the day. So the reason why I'm printing this is just to make sure that all the colors are coming out well, right? Because you can see the first nozzle check here has some gaps and some lines in it. So I did a full head clean, a strong head clean, and then doing the check, and then it'll start printing my stuff sheet. Okay, so anyways, first thing I have to do, listen, I look chopped today. It's the flu, to be honest. You can see my eyes are still a bit swollen, so it's a lot, but I still have to study, right? I still have to do my stuff. So here I've opened my code blocks, which is my IDE that we use. I was hoping to start with theory, but what's there in theory? I feel like you're just gonna have to write code, right? But yeah, let me just start with theory. So I have my notes already for programming already, so I can just start with that. I feel like with studying, right, you cannot really say to someone, this is how to study. You get what I mean? At some point, you just have to drop all the apps, just drop everything and sit in front of your book and just read it. That's basically it. That's like the first step, right? I can tell you, oh my god, Pomodoro method. I can tell you recess, blah 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 blah. Use this, use that, use this, use that. All of those things are tools, right? But the best tool that you have is your mind, and for you to utilize it and for you to study effectively, you just have to sit down with your notes and read them. That's like the first thing. You sit down, you read your notes. You do it again and again and again and again and again and again until you can say the very same things as detailed as you read them 5 days from now, 7 days from now, a week from now, stuff like that. So that's just kind of like how I think everyone should approach studying. It's not a thing of, oh, there's like a magic trick or whatever. No, you should just sit down with your books and read them. There's no, oh my god, I cannot study when it's like this. Oh my god, I don't know how to study. Sit down and read your notes. Like, sit down, read your notes, and then a day later, or okay, here's what I do specifically, right? It's the same thing that I'm saying here. I have my notes here. That's why it's very, very important for me to have notes already written down, right? So I know other people will be like, I don't write notes, I prefer to type them. That's also another thing. Or someone will be like, the teachers give us slides, right? They give us PowerPoints and stuff like that. Yeah, that's okay. But remember, you have to take that information and kind of like refine it in your own way. Even if a lot of the things are still word for word, because there's some things you cannot like summarize and change. So you just take that and you write down your notes. So you write notes, you make sure that your notes are detailed. You don't like super summarize everything. You can't, because you're gonna end up missing like the important things, right? So you write your notes in your book. This is what I do anyways. I just write my notes in my book, so I know for sure that each chapter has this specific thing that is like important, that stands out, something that maybe the lecturer has repeatedly pointed out and said this. So for example, with programming, chapter 1, we're talking about introduction to object-oriented programming, and then we have principles of object-oriented programming, abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation. Already, that is, I already know chapter 1, abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation. You have to know what it is, so it's just kind of like how you have to see it, that each chapter has a very specific thing that stands out the most, and that is probably the most important and something that you will be tested on. That's like the first step. It's not the first step. The first step is writing your notes down. Don't write stuff word for word, but at the same time, don't super summarize everything, right? Make sure you actually read and hear what is this information about, what is it saying, and then you go in and you summarize your notes. After summarizing your notes, after you have your notes down, that's 10% of the work, right? Now the rest of the work that you're gonna do is reading the notes. I'm sorry, I'm running out of words, but yeah. Reading your notes, you just have to read them again and again and again and again. What is imperative programming? What is declarative programming? Blah blah blah. Try to make sense out of it. You just read it again and again and again and again and again and again. To the point where the next day, we're gonna do. It's called spaced repetition, right? So after you read your notes, you're probably gonna take, let's say, an hour. Just take an hour, do something else, whatever, walk around, do other stuff, and then after that hour, you don't open your notes. You don't open your notes now. What you do now is take a blank piece of paper and you try to write down every single thing that you remember from what you read first time. So that trick, it works so well. This is how I do it. So I take a full page, a blank page, like this is an A4 paper, and then I fold it in half like this. After folding it in half, I write everything in very, very, very tiny, like very tiny. You can see how I write it, very tiny. I write everything that I remember from my head without looking at the notes, right? After doing that, you're now this is the first time you're doing it. So the first time you have your first draft of notes that you wrote from your head, not from the book. Now you're gonna take that and you're gonna take your notes, and then you're gonna compare the two and see what information did you not write down. That information that you didn't write down, read it again, and then this time take 2 hours, and then you are not going to write what you missed the first time. You're going to write everything, so what you missed the first time and even what you got right the first time, and then you're going to take another piece of paper, another A4 paper, and then you're going to write everything down, everything that you remember. So you continue, repeat until you have 90% of the stuff written down. It doesn't have to be the exact same words, but you have to make sure you have everything covered in your papers. So you can do this 3 times. When you've done this 3 times, and then call it a day, you're done. 2 days later, do the same thing. Don't look at your notes. Now you're no longer looking at your notes, right? You only look at your notes the very first stage. After that, you are now just going to repeat the same thing. Just take a blank piece of paper, random time. It doesn't even have to be this is my study session, so I'm going to do this. Just randomly take a piece of paper, even if you're in the kitchen, just write down everything you remember. Just write it down. And as the days go by, you realize that you are actually retaining much more than if you tried to get all the information that you had at once, and if you tried to memorize by just reading, right? Because just reading is just reading. But when you are able to write down what you read without having any reference, without having a gadget, without having a reference, like I said, then that makes more sense, and that makes the information stick much better. The other thing is mnemonics. I always use mnemonics and drawings. These things are the things that just carry me through. It doesn't matter what kind of subject or module I'm doing, as long as it has content that needs to be memorized and stuff. That's basically how I do it. So with mnemonics and stuff like that, you'll find out that maybe for stuff where they tell you what are the advantages of something, right? And then these advantages, it's like a list of them. So here, let's say, what is this? What did I write down? I wrote down. Oh, okay. I'll stop hitting this so I can just see. So here, okay, benefits of. Benefits of an information system. I think it's something like that. So benefits of something, and then I have cost reduction, efficiency, decision making, stakeholder satisfaction, and then now look at the first letter of every single benefit. In this case, we have C, E, D, S, right? So I'll try to make up like a 4-letter word with that. It's just that the catch is that the word that you use or the letter that you use to represent that specific benefit has to be directly linked. So you cannot say, for example, okay, characteristics of cloud computing, right? You have here broad network access, rapid elasticity, resource pooling, multi-tenancy, vendor lock-in, right? You cannot say for your abbreviation or mnemonic, you cannot say broad. You get what I mean? Because broad is not gonna stick. You're not gonna remember what does broad even like. Broad is broad, but you're not gonna remember what characteristic that is. So because here we're talking about characteristics of cloud computing, you're gonna want to take network. So you're gonna take N, and then you're gonna be like, oh, what the cloud computing network? What's the link? Then you're like, oh, network access to the network, and it should be broad, and it's broad. You see, so I can't remember this characteristic by saying broad. You get what I mean? So I would use N for network access. Same here, I cannot say R for rapid because rapid on its own doesn't make any sense. So I would take E for elasticity. So I would take N for network, E for elasticity. Resource pooling, I wouldn't take pooling either. I would take resource, so R for resource. And then multi-tenancy, M, vendor lock-in, V. So that would give me N, E, R, M, V. And then you can just, this literally is like, it's nerve or venom. Like you just make something up. That's basically how you do your mnemonics, right? When you're doing mnemonics, just remember the letter that you're using to represent whatever it is has to be directly linked to what you're talking about. You cannot use something that's indirectly related to it, because then you're not going to remember it. Trust me. What's the other thing I said? So it's space repetition, mnemonics, and then the last thing is, what's the last thing? Oh, drawings. I always do drawings. So I want to show you something. I want to show you how this works out so well. So last year I was doing networks, right? And in networks, let me see if there's something you can remember. Oh, okay. Star topology. That is something we did in semester 1 of last year. But I remember it because I had a diagram in my head that I would memorize. So let me draw it for you. And this is gonna make so much sense for you. Trust me. This is like the best. So when I see this, obviously, star topology, so it's a star. But let me explain to you. While I'm looking at this diagram right here, I'm seeing a center, right? Which means what? Centralized control, right? So that means the star topology has centralized control or something like that. And then you're gonna say it is also a single point of failure, right? That would be a disadvantage. You would also say that it can allow many nodes to be connected to it, right? So from the drawing, you should be able to explain that whole thing. You see, that's even last year. The other thing, okay, let me explain to you from networks again from last year. We did how how a piece of information is sent to the next device or something, right? Basically, this is how I would draw it. Oh, my light is off. Let me just connect the lights. I've been speaking non-stop. Let me bring it this side. You know what? I didn't even plan to do this. I don't really like tell people how I remember stuff. Just in general, it's just me. Because I'm like, whatever works for you, you know, and it's your responsibility to find what works for you. But I'm telling you what works for me, right? So last year we did something like about how you would send an email, for example. So this is how it would go. We have a specific piece of information that we want to send via email. I actually needed to focus on this so you can see. Oh my god, why is it doing this? You can't see, but I do. Okay, do this. Hold on. We have a piece of information that we want to send via email, right? This is it. And what we are saying is that this piece of email that is one thing, is broken down into data frames, right? These data frames are sent in a sequence. I remember I would write here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all sent in a sequence, and once they arrive where they're going, or as they arrive where they're going, they are put back together again into one whole. That's like the super summary of it. It's put back together again into one. So the concept here was just that you take one piece of email, one piece of data that you want to send. It is segmentalized, and then each segment is given a sequence series, or like a sequence number or a code that identifies what it is. And then as it is being sent, even if it's not sent in that order that it is, it's still at the end when it gets there, it will be reorganized into the right order that it's supposed to be. And then when it gets there, it comes back together. So there's this thing also, you add like a header and a trailer, and blah blah blah. But that's last year's stuff. For this year, you can see here, even in the exam, I would draw small diagrams. And you're right, you can see I drew small diagrams here and there. So it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Here I think I was talking about types of databases. This is types of databases. I have all of them here in this small diagram. I have the first one is a centralized one. The second one is a distributed one. Third one is a cloud. Fourth one is a general. I think it's general. Yeah, general. And then the next one. Yeah, you get the point. So I just have diagrams here, and they help me remember these things and stuff like that. So those are the 3 ways that really work for me, no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter, even if I didn't like properly study, I will still do these 3 things. Very important. But the key here is to do these things early in the semester. That's the key, right? If you wait until last minute to do everything, your brain is going to be overwhelmed. As much as our brains are, able to, and they have the capacity to absorb as much information as we give it, but you also want to get this knowledge for like the long term, right? It's not just about writing exams, it's about just knowing stuff for the long term. So if you're running a marathon, you have to do these things step by step. It builds up. So sometimes you may not even need to study 3 days before, 2 days before, 1 day before, because you've already done these 3 things. Spaced repetition being the biggest one, right? Mnemonics being another one, and what's the last one? Drawing diagrams to represent everything. So yeah, this was not supposed to be this kind of video. Like I said, it's not really mine. I don't know when was the last time I did like study tips video, right? But this really works, trust me, it does. Now what? Now I want to go to... Now I have to study. For programming, most things here, see if it's programming, it's more practical. So the first thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to do theory today, I'm just going to read it, right? Programming language, paradigm, I will see you guys in the next video. Let me study. Yeah, let me do a time lapse. Yeah, I'll do a time lapse of me studying, and hopefully maybe this is not the end of the video, or it is, but yeah, I will see you guys later. I hope you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.